All right.
We're doing really good.
Let's do it.
David and John, just to be clear, go into Google Drive to the episode folder for this episode and download dramaticreading.txt and don't open it until we get to the part where I tell you to open it.
Doing so now.
Good.
Okay.
And David, be prepared for a dramatic reading.
Accent preferred or?
Oh, you're going to have to kind of freestyle. You'll each be assigned a character. So
Oh, okay.
just be ready.
Oh, wait. Ah, damn it, John. You made a folder for 1998, so I ended up clicking that. I was like, oh, it's the most recent one. It's like, wait a minute. There's something about Mary didn't come out in 1998.
I
What?
get John's game for next week already. Ugh. Shit.
Who's ready to get going?
Turn your mic up, John.
How's that? Is that better?
A little better.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Good.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome to Game That Tune.
Oh, yeah. What's going on, everybody? Game That Tune is finally back in the house. Oh, God. It's just been so long, guys. I mean, to podcast listeners, it's just going to not feel like it's been that long. But, man, a couple of weeks hiatus of Game That Tune.
Whew.
And, man, it just feels like homecoming now. It's just fantastic. It's your boy John Harrington here. We got John Regan. Clearly moved in and perfectly settled in his new home base of operations in Baltimore, Maryland. Say hey.
Hey.
Hey. And we got David Fleming. Say hey.
Hey.
And we got Jesse Moore. Say hey.
Hey.
Hell yeah. Guys, it's good to be back. If you're just joining us on Game That Tune, what we do around here is we belch into the microphone, we listen to video game music, try and guess the games based on the songs and a little bit of trivia. Goof off, have a lot of fun, talk a bunch of mess, and the winner at the end plays a bonus song and gets to pick a theme for the next episode. And I literally don't remember who won last 3 weeks ago whenever we did this. Who was it?
I think it might have been David.
Oh wait, I think it was John. Do we ourselves out? And that's how
I kind of feel like it was John.
Yeah, I think we played.
Yeah, I do
I think we ended the episode with ska and then didn't appear for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you almost broke the band up, man. Ska is our Yoko. So Johnny, what theme did you pick for tonight's episode?
I did the 90s because we're in episode 97, and it just makes sense. The 90s.
Exactly. We're in our 90s marathon, and we got a lot of awesome 90s games, and we've been doing a fantastic pop culture rundown, and we're all the way up into 1997, where most of the notable stories involve like death. I mean,
It's
the
not
big
fun.
one, Princess Diana, or is the big one the Notorious B.I.G.? It's a toss-up depending on where you're from. Both were bad. Top songs, Candle in the Wind, which should have had a Biggie Smalls remix, quite frankly. Big movies that year, Titanic. You know how hard it is to watch that movie knowing that most of those people are going to die?
Yeah, it does make it even worse.
Men in Black, nobody in that is dead so far, so that's good. And
Although
then,
there was, if I have a brief anecdote about Titanic. So, my wife and I were watching Legends of Tomorrow, the DC time travel superhero show, which stars Victor Garber, who played the engineer in Titanic. And there's a bit where they're talking about traveling in time. It's like, we could go anywhere. We could visit the Titanic. And his character says, what? No, that'd be preposterous. I would never step foot on that. What idiot designed that ship? It's like, I'd see what you did there. That's cute.
Exactly. Titanic references, always timely.
Mm-hmm.
And one last one for the pop culture rundown. Bret Hart was subjected to the Montreal screw job.
Oh,
Jesse, got any
man.
opinions on that?
That's so wacky and fucked up. Like, did you read about it? Like, do you know what the screw job was?
I only vaguely know that he thought he was going to win and he didn't.
Yeah, he was supposed to win that night, and then all of a sudden Vince is like, "Hey, tell the referee to have Shawn Michaels go over," and surprise, and Bret Hart's like, "Wait, I was supposed to win. This is fucked up. I'm gonna go backstage and punch Vince McMahon," and that's what happened.
Hell yeah. And also Chris Farley, Michael Hutchins, Jimmy Stewart, and John Denver died. Johnny, let's get into the positive territory, man. Let's just go to game one. It's Valentine's Day. I'm in a happy mood. You know, if anybody's here listening and watching live with us, thanks for being here on Valentine's Day. Let's
We
get
love you.
All right. Happy Valentine's Day.
Game
Yeah.
1.
Can you see the sun is shining on me? It makes me feel so free, so alive. It makes me want to survive. And the sky, it makes me feel so high. The bad times pass me by, 'cause today it's gonna be a brighter day. Can you feel the sunshine? Does it brighten up the day? Don't you feel that sometimes you just need to run away? Reach out for the sunshine, forget about the rain. Just think about the good times, and they will come back again. The sunshine. Without you, there's nothing for me to do. Can you feel the sunshine too? It's coming through. It makes me feel brand new. When you're here, I wish you were always near. 'Cause everything's so clear. And today, it's gonna be a brighter day. Can you feel the sunshine? Does it brighten up the day? Don't you feel that sometimes you just need to run away? Reach out for the sunshine, forget about the rain. Just think about the good times, and they will come back again. When the sun goes down, I feel like I am waiting for another day when the clouds go away. Can you feel it? Ooh. Can you feel it? Oh. Can you feel it? Oh. Can you feel it? Can you feel the sunshine? Does it brighten up the day? Don't you feel that sometimes you just need to run away? Reach out for the sunshine, forget about the rain. Just think about the good times, and they will come back again.
Wow, there's so many games this could be.
You know you have to survive. You've got to keep the dream alive. Wherever you see? So many things that we've been through. Can you feel it? So many things for us to do, but can you feel it? So many faces all around, so many places to be found. Living in a city where nothing gets you down. You know you have to survive. You've got to keep the dream alive, where everything is free. Can't you see? Living in the city, you know you have to survive. You've got to keep the dream alive, where everything is free. Can't you see? In the sky at night, the stars are shining bright. You can see the city lights, 'cause I'm here to make it right. In the city.
All right, guys. A little bit of trivia about this game. Every level begins with the letter R.
Wait, is this?
Come on, run away. You don't have to stay. We're nearly out of time, but you're doing fine. So stay on track.
I hate
and
you.
don't look back. Just feel the
The best song.
Come on now, race! Everybody supersonic racing. Try to keep your feet right on the ground. When you're supersonic racing, there's no time to look around. We're just supersonic racing, running to the point of no return. Everybody supersonic racing. Come on, let the fire burn. Everybody, 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 supersonic racing. Try to keep your feet right on the ground. When you're supersonic racing, there's no time to look around. We're just supersonic racing, running to the point of no return. Everybody supersonic racing. Come on, let the fire burn. Don't you know we really have to go to a place where you can feel my heart just race. Everybody supersonic racing. Try to keep your feet right on the ground. When you're supersonic racing.
God, there's so many games this could be.
Yeah, hold on. I need to review this trivia real quick. Every level begins with R.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't listening to the lyrics to that song, but they seem to be pushing me in a certain direction. Oh man, this is a toss-up, Johnny.
Hmm.
No, for real. Tell us to reveal it.
So yeah, let's see it. I'm waiting for you to reveal it. We got Sonic R, and Sonic R, which is correct. I'll deem it. Hold on. I just
Yeah.
moved.
A little rusty. Huh?
Wait, isn't he always like that though? No.
You know, you can usually at least get the hat trick sound right. So, I just learned something just now. I never bothered listening to the soundtrack or playing this game, obviously, because it's Sonic R for the Sega Saturn and come the fuck on.
But we all have 4 of them, so might as well play it.
Exactly. But
Yeah,
no,
right.
play Sonic R. I don't get it. But I thought there was just one vocal track in this game. The last song there, Supersonic Racing, that's the one I've heard because it's in fucking Smash Brothers. Is every song in this game featuring the vocals by that woman?
Yep. You're always hearing that.
Fuck. Like,
Now imagine that music, that like sort of jazzy poppy music with vocal tracks while you're racing. Like, talk about a match made in heaven.
I mean, it could work if the racing is super tight. So, how's the gameplay on Sonic R?
Not great.
So good?
Yeah. Understatement much?
But it's not great. It's awesome. No.
Oh,
This
hot take.
Yeah, this game is famously terrible.
Yeah.
It does have some cool things going on in terms of visual effects, actually, that were supposedly impossible to do on the Saturn. And this is, I mentioned like the other week, there's this YouTube channel called Game Hut that's run by a developer of some older Sega games. And he'd worked on this, and he has some videos explaining how they pulled off some of their visual effects. I'm like, that is so cool. If only the game wasn't awful.
Yeah, exactly. Wasted them on this. Like, I'm trying to think. I've seen videos of it. I mean, doesn't it have like some cool like metal reflection type stuff? And
Yeah, exactly.
like, I feel like the tracks, they kind of elevate and like, change in elevation a little bit more, like better than even something like Mario Kart 64. Like it was.
Yeah, it is really weird because you're running like Sonic, and you can jump around, and like when you're Knuckles, you can glide. Like, so it's not like a traditional racer where you're generally on the track the whole time. You can actually get off of it and like take little shortcuts, things like that. So that part is cool. It's just that everything feels real slippery. Like the controls are not tight at all. It's very easy to kind of slide, around and not go where you meant to.
Right.
It does have unlockable characters. This game is infamous for a Tails doll that you can play as. So instead of playing it, like there's Tails, but there's also Tails doll. Tails doll is literally a doll of Tails, so it's very dead looking all the time. This little doll
So
that's
is
kind
it
of
just like
going.
Is
he
it
doesn't
just
have
the
limbs.
same character and the same animations, or is it literally just like the Tails model, but it doesn't animate, so it's just like floating like a doll?
No, it's a different.
love
Like
it.
it's got a different look to him. He doesn't look. It's not just Tails. It does look like a doll. But again, that's what makes it creepy. Like imagine playing a racing game where you're just like this lifeless doll running around. Like it's very, very unsettling.
I like it.
So
it's
let me ask you, if the controls were a little tighter, would this be like an actually good game? Is that what's holding it back? Is the controls are just awful and it's slippery and stuff?
I think the controls, and I think there's only 5 or 6 courses, which is kind of lame.
that was going to be the.
I mean,
so there's like 30 great racetracks in this game, right? Like
there are 5.
Yeah. 5 fucking tracks.
Okay, never mind.
I mean, to be fair, it sounds like a cool premise where, it's a Sonic racing game, so everybody's running super fast, and like you can bump into people. Like, I would play that if I could control it and there was more than 5 courses.
Right. It sounds like it'd be a cool arcade game, perhaps.
Mhm.
Not so much like a home console game that I would pay more than a quarter at a time to play. Like if I bought a game, I mean, this came out in 97, so I mean, is that's the same year? Like Mario Kart came out in 1997, and it had 16 tracks and mirrored versions of all the tracks, and then you get Sonic Racing, and it's 5 tracks. That's just a little bit of a letdown comparatively.
Just a little bit.
Not
Also,
saying that
to be fair,
Nintendo's
Mario Kart
did not, but come on, 5.
Mario Kart had 8 distinct characters, none of which were like creepy eldritch horror possessed dolls.
That's
Yes.
true. That's true.
That would have been pretty tight if they added in an extra like 8 characters in Mario Kart, just creepy, voodoo dolls of all the characters.
Like, okay,
That's, if
Dear
you
Nintendo.
play through mirror mode and star like all the courses, you unlock mirror characters.
yes,
get rid of the baby characters. More demonic, possessed doll versions of the Mario characters.
Yes. I was going to say super deformed. And I'm like, wait, no, that's the baby characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. More
That's what they
cheap.
should do is
Wait, those are babies.
instead of unlocking baby characters or metal characters, you just unlock like dry bone skeleton versions of all of the characters.
That
Play as
would
like Skeleton Peach.
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Skeleton Toad. Now that we finally settled the debate about whether his head is his head or his hat, you know,
Yeah.
I need
Oh,
the
man.
skeleton. That's some interesting anatomy.
You unlock Skeleton Toad and you see like the mushroom like seeping into his skull.
Yes.
Really? Can't
So
believe
anyway, yeah.
Nintendo
So
approved this.
so much to say, Johnny, about Sonic R. I assume.
So I do love that, you know, you can play as Amy Rose in this game, and she's driving a car. That seems really unfair.
Which doesn't like in Sonic CD, like doesn't Amy chase after Sonic and like catch up to him? Like she's just as fast, isn't she?
In Sonic CD, I don't recall her chasing you. Like she catches up to you at one point because you're stopped. Like I don't recall. There's no race. There's no like thing that really indicates she's as fast as you. I don't think she is.
Is Sega CD canon?
And you know, I'm not gonna lie. You know, I was not 16 years old in 1997, but I'm pretty sure that women weren't allowed to drive.
Oh.
I don't know what they're thinking with that inclusion. Like, you know, all the characters are running and shit to drive. Thank you.
Perfect.
So,
Next song.
but yeah, okay.
No, say a piece.
No, so anyways, yeah, I think this is a game that's promise. It may have mirror tracks. I'm not 100% positive, but the fact that there's only 5 really kind of sucks. Controls aren't great, and you have the weird. You have like there's Metal Sonic and Metal Knuckles, which is kind of odd. You do have Super Sonic, and my understanding is once you unlock Super Sonic and you play with Super Sonic, I'm pretty sure the only song you hear is the Super Sonic Racing song. I think that overrides. It doesn't matter what track you're on. You're gonna hear Super Sonic Racing the whole time because you're Super Sonic, which is
That's
great. That's such a good song.
I'm starting to understand why people hate this game. That's a bold move.
Game
The
2.
last thing.
Oh, go ahead.
Last
John.
thing I'll say, if Metal Knuckles isn't gold colored and called Brass Knuckles, quite frankly, it's a severely missed opportunity. Way to go, Sega. You know, it's too bad they never made a good Sonic racing game after this one. Anyway, moving on, John.
Game 2.
Okay, guys. So it's hard to find trivia for this, so I'm gonna list some of the unlockables that you can unlock in the game.
Ooh.
Um, you can get giant characters, meaty arms, big head. There's a kid mode. There's an invisible walls where you can make the walls will still be there, but they'll be invisible. No gauge mode, and play as Sailor Alice. So go for it. All right, guys. David says invest in a
No, that was a
whiteboard.
message to John.
No, that's his answer, right? That's his answer, guys.
No, it's not.
Johnny says Sailor Moon. That's incorrect.
What? Who'd have thought?
Ooh. David says Mega Man Legends. But is sadly incorrect. And John Harrington with Bloody Roar. He's correct.
Hell yeah. Oh man. What a fucking game.
Have you ever played Bloody Roar?
Only like I have vague recollections of playing it at some point back in the 90s. Briefly, I just want to say, if you Google unlockable meaty arms, that comes up as one of the top results.
Oh.
Really? Because all I got was Arms, the Nintendo Switch game.
I was like, meaty arms. Oh, it's arms. Meaty arms with kid mode. No, delete that. Meaty unlockable
Episode title.
Meaty Arms Kids mode, and I am on a list. Yeah. No, so Bloody Roar, it's a fighting game where you're fighting as people, but you can transform into animals, right?
Yes, pretty much. Or animal people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Close, whatever, yeah. Were people, animal
Yeah.
people, I don't know what there's probably some, I don't know, fantasy nerd term for that I don't know of, but
There actually is a zoanthrope. Zoanthrope.
okay.
It's in the wiki, the bloody wiki.
Sure. The old bloody wiki. Yeah, no, I have like vague memories, 3D, like, Tekken style kind of fighting, right? And you turn into animals.
Yeah. It's more or less like Dead or Alive, or like you said, Tekken, but you can transform into animals, and it's a pretty cool game. Like the trick is to wait until you've done as much damage in human mode that you can, and then go into like beast mode to finish them off and stuff. And you can like do combos with and like turn into the animal like right next to them, and that'll hurt the person and stuff. And it's a pretty cool game. Like I feel like they need a new one now, just to be like, guess what, guys?
I mean, fighting games with transformations, I don't think those will ever get old. Like, that's, I don't know. And a new set of animals would be pretty tight. Or just, I mean, hell, like everything's being ported to the Switch these days. Just port a PlayStation port of this, this
Hell
straight
yeah.
to the Switch. You know,
So to say,
That'd be,
I don't know that I've heard of this game, but what amounts to like fighting game but with werewolves sounds amazing.
yeah,
Pretty much.
fighting
Like,
game with moles. Doesn't a character turn into a mole in this game?
Yes, I was going to list the characters. There's Yugo, who turns into a wolf. Alan turns into a lion. Godot. Bakuryu turns into a mole. Mitsuko turns into a wild sow. Jinlong turns into a Chinese tiger. Alice turns into a rabbit. Greg turns into a gorilla. And also, you just gotta love that name, Greg. When was the last time you were in the fighting game and you like have all these cool characters and then Greg?
That's what I love about mundane ass fighting game characters. Again, like Tekken. Paul is one of the best characters in the game. It's like, and then they added Bob, and it's like, you got to be kidding me, man! Like, are they really running low on American names? You got Paul and Bob in the game, like, they have cool last names, maybe, but like, come on, Paul, Greg the gorilla. At least call him Gorilla.
Then Hans is a fox. But I remember playing the one on GameCube, Primal Roar, I think it was called or something, and it was pretty good. And I played this one, but in the arcade, it was called Beasterizer, which is a weird name.
That's a way better name.
Yeah.
That is definitely a like as seen on TV type product that I would buy in a heartbeat.
Love Beasterizer.
Or it's nowadays that's probably a fucking Facebook link you click to find out your fucking persona. Like click on the Beasterizer and see what you would look like as an animal. Wow. Sponsored by Bloody Roar on Switch. Like,
Oh man,
make it happen.
making some money.
I know how to make money on the internet. Not really. But that's a new Patreon goal. Is a Facebook app that determines your persona and is tied into Bloody Roar.
I was just about to say, like, I know how to make money on the internet. No, I don't. Also, visit patreon.com/GameThatTune.
Yeah, while we're on that subject, we could use some more money in our Patreon. David will draw a persona if they give us money on our Patreon. Boom.
Your Patreon goal, we create a Facebook app that tells you which one of the Game That Tune hosts you actually are.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, and a Facebook spam link that you click. It's like what you would look like as a Game That Tune host, and it's just your picture and then a picture of John Regan. What?
Literally, all it is, it just takes your profile picture and adds like an MS Paint version of headphones onto you.
That's a good idea.
That sounds pretty easy to do. Johnny, how long did it take to make that?
Like 10 minutes, I think.
Yeah. He's on it. Oh shit. But yeah, I wish I had some more specific memories of Bloody Roar. So was this like Mortal Kombat levels of like bloody?
No, it wasn't like that. It was more like Tekken, but you know how whenever you hit someone in Tekken, there's all those like weird sparks and stuff sometimes? It's like that, but blood. So like it's sparingly blood. Like there's blood because it's Bloody Roar, of course. And sometimes when you're a wild animal, like one of your attacks is to bite the fuck out of them. And so there's going to be blood. It's just not like, Mortal Kombat craziness,
Right.
And the walls
Punching,
break
like, 6
if
rib
you
cages.
hit them hard enough whenever you're about to, like, if you're doing your last move on them, then it'll break the wall and they'll go flying off the stage, which is a nice little effect.
Shit, yeah. Yeah, I love it, man. It would be pretty funny if there were just no blood, or if like Nintendo kept up its like early SNES puritanical standards, so it became Sweaty Roar.
Ugh. Hate.
Which
That sounds
doesn't have the same rhythm.
somehow Sweaty War is way more disgusting than Bloody Roar.
Yeah, right.
It's
Yeah.
way more sexual, and therefore just it just puts the wrong image in your head.
The whole
Bloody
game
Roar.
takes-
Oh, it's a fighting game. Sweaty Roar. It's a coming game.
What?
I was gonna say, I was gonna go more PG and just say workout game, like it's a game that takes place in a gym.
Nope. Not the
Nope.
coming game.
There's a
But the question is, like, are you getting to a point where you're so sweaty you want to roar, or are you roaring so loudly that you break a sweat?
that is the question for whenever we get around to making this game. I love it.
See, I'm just picturing like a werewolf just like screaming and howling and roaring and then, whew,
Ooh,
man.
Oh boy, that's how I feel every week when we make Game That Tune.
Sweaty War is just
Talking so much that I break a sweat.
it's just a game where you play as
anyway,
me going
Jet-
up and down stairs.
You broke up. I didn't catch it.
I was saying Sweaty War sounds like a game where you just play as me walking up and down stairs.
Self burn.
See, you broke up, so I just kind of heard like sweaty roar and then downstairs, and I was kind of afraid of where you were taking it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I missed key details in that joke. Anyway, Jesse, anything else on Bloody Sweaty Roar?
No, I think we covered it. It's a good fighting game. I think if you haven't checked it out, you should. And that's it.
Fuck yeah, Johnny, let's do it.
Game 3.
I should have asked him to do a Sweaty Roar. All right. So this is the fan request for the evening. This comes to us from frequent requester and sometimes Game That Tune guest appearance guy, Pat Perkins. And this game's final boss fight can be avoided in favor of an abrupt and unsatisfying ending by choosing the wrong dialogue option. I was happy to see that Jesse appeared to figure it out as soon as the first song started playing. So, how is everybody else feeling?
Okay.
John has produced a Google image search for a drawing of a dick. David Fleming says The Curse of Monkey Island. And Jesse, as predicted, has the correct answer of Breath of Fire 3.
Boom.
Hell yeah. David's grumbling.
No, I merely had a frog in my throat.
Yes. So Jesse, I take it then that you've played Breath of Fire 3.
Yeah, it's an awesome game. It's an RPG, Capcom. The first in the series on the PlayStation. Jazzy soundtrack.
Yeah, I think that was going to be Pat's suggested trivia. This is the first game to be released for PlayStation, in which the previous entries in the series were released for Nintendo systems. Something.
Yes.
It was convoluted, so I went with the other trivia about the endings. So
Yeah.
You could phrase this the first series to jump from Nintendo exclusive to PlayStation exclusive or something like that.
I could have. Thank you, John. Yeah.
Well, because
Lot of
Final
games
Fantasy VII came out that year too, so that would be incorrect.
Boom. Suck it, John.
Sorry, I didn't.
Also, Mega Man X4, which was the first PS exclusive one.
Yeah.
It's so many times, John.
Nintendo just got fucked all over.
Let out the sweaty roar. Yeah. Jesse, so did you ever make it to the ending and choose the wrong dialogue option?
No, I think I'm about like 10 hours from the ending, but like it's to a point where I haven't played in so long, so whenever I do want to play, I'll have no idea where I'm supposed to go, so it's just like I either have to start over or not play it anymore.
I love that coming back to an RPG. Like it's like, okay, what the fuck was just happening? Like these games really need a rundown feature sometimes, because just talking to random townspeople, sometimes you can't get your bearings. Like,
They don't help you. They make things worse sometimes.
Yeah, I've discovered the added layer of that more recently in like modern games. It's like, wait, I totally forgot like the combat flow of this game. Like, one thing, but like, man, if I tried to jump back in like Final Fantasy 15 after a few weeks away of playing something else, it's like, wait a minute, I don't remember how to kill anything. Oh shit! Like I'm in trouble. This is bad, y'all.
See, this is why I gravitate more towards games like Guitar Hero nowadays, because like I can come back a year later. I don't need to remember anything. It's fine.
I realize that's why I play so many fucking fighting games. Like, yeah, I know how to do this. Quarter circle button. Nailed it. I'm in. But yeah, so the endings in Breath of Fire 3 are pretty funny. If you get to the final, like you're talking to the final, what turns out to be the final boss, and she tells you like, oh, you can give up your powers and live in a quiet isolation and make the world a peaceful place and not change anything, but you got to give up your powers. So do you want to give up your powers or not? And then, it's like, if you don't give them up, you fight her. And if you do, the game ends. And it's really funny. Like, it's like, John chose to give up his powers and lived a quiet and, unsatisfied life. And it says something like, and time passed, unchanging Finn. And I'm just like, damn, man, can you imagine if that happened in like other games? Like,
that's why I went with Monkey Island, because that seems like a very Monkey Island thing to do. Like LeChuck standing there is like, shall we duel? No. All right. End.
Yeah, exactly. Like, do you want to fight? I've decided no. Like, oh, all right. And Bowser took the princess and escorted Mario from the castle. The end. Mario went back to Brooklyn and began his plumbing business in earnest with his brother John Leguizamo. Like, where do these games go if they give you the dialogue option to not beat them in the right way? Like,
I love it when games do that. Cave Story has that as an ending. There's a point where it's like, so do you want to just like leave now? And you can be like, okay, and island, let everyone die. Well,
that's so fucking funny.
The Force Unleashed games, you could always do something and have like an alternate timeline happen. Like you kill Darth Vader and replace him, and then like there's like a DLC pack where you like kill Obi-Wan and go to Hoth and kill, or you make Luke go to the dark side and like smash the Millennium Falcon with the Force and it's like really fucked up and crazy.
Dude, that sounds really cool. It'd be great if like you just made one choice and the game just ended and like you're just kind of sitting in a spaceship like, man, that was crazy adventure. That almost got really out of hand.
Yeah.
So basically what we wish that more video games had the Avengers shawarma scene as the ending.
Yes.
I was going to say, it reminds me of the 2004 and completely unremarkable movie Dodgeball. On the DVD, they had the alternate ending.
I forgot about that.
It's just Vince Vaughn being hit with a dodgeball and then Ben Stiller going like, yeah, and then the credits roll. It's just like, wait a minute. Like in 2004, I thought that would have been the biggest fucking thing ever. It turns out, Breath of Fire came up with it, years before that. Yeah.
We really should have noticed once, you get to that dungeon in Breath of Fire and unlock the dodgeball weapon. Like, and Steve the pirate joins your party.
You have to fight the purple cobras. But yeah, that's it. We've done it. We've connected Breath of Fire 3 with Dodgeball in some way.
It couldn't be done. Game that tune does things that can't be done.
But yeah, so it's a Capcom RPG. Jesse, give us a rundown.
Yeah, it's you're like this boy that can turn into a dragon, and there's like characters that reoccur in all the Breath of Fire games, but I don't think they're actually connected, or if they are, then it's very loosely or something. I'm not exactly sure, but
are like dead in these games or something? Like, did they kill dragons? Is that why it's Breath of Fire? It's like a sad, like, oh, I wish there were still dragons around, or is it just like swarm dragons?
It seems like the thing is there's not a lot of dragons. Like, it's been a long time since I've played it.
Right. Jeez, man, I thought you would be fresh on this. Like,
I'm sorry, but yeah, like the battles are really fun. Like I said, Ryu, he's the main character. he can turn into a dragon, and you can like turn into different kinds of dragons to do like different types of abilities and stuff, and it's really cool. Like the battles are really neat. The dungeons can be pretty long and hard, just like I like them.
I was gonna say it's a Capcom RPG. The main character is Ryu. He turns into a dragon. Can you then punch somebody?
I don't think so.
I
I think you can scratch them.
Because I mean, a dragon punch from a character named Ryu would have told Capcom at that time was devoid of new ideas, and they were just trying to repackage their previous products with new game formats. Definitely not something Capcom would ever do. So,
there's a really cool fishing mini game that the game is famous for. Like a lot of people love the fishing in these games, and 3 had really good fishing in it. I kind of prefer 4, but that's just me.
Yeah, why are there so many games with fishing mini games? Now that I think about it, like it's I don't know. What purpose does fishing serve in this otherwise like strange fantasy RPG? Like
I think
you can get like really cool items and stuff. Like it's mostly optional.
Sure.
I think it's a way to add a lot of time.
Like Final Fantasy 15, you can just pull over anywhere and start fishing. It's like literally one of the characters. It's the main character's like skill. It's like, okay, fishing. Why not? But that's a tangent. Whatever. Johnny, tell us a fishing story.
Well, I actually got the fishing merit badge back when I was in the Boy Scouts. I'm actually pretty not terrible at it.
Really?
Yeah, I really don't like doing
Not
it.
a fish this big.
That's pretty good.
I'm sorry, John. I completely trampled over your story. Please continue.
Hey, he was about to tell a really proud story.
No, that was the end of the story.
No, I wasn't. I told the story. You heard it.
Well, how did you get the badge?
By fishing.
Like what constitutes as a good fisherman in the Boy Scouts?
Oh god, it's been years. The only thing I truly remember from the merit badge was the instructor being like, I don't go fishing, I go catching. He's like, that's the attitude you gotta have.
Saying that?
What's
It's
that?
something you picked up at Boy Scouts?
Yeah.
Wow. That's actually, I'm really glad we got off on this tangent. That's like filling in a piece of Game That Tune lore. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, man.
Secret backstory that you never bothered to ask for, where John's catchphrase comes from.
Yeah, we learned the origin of one of Johnny's maybe twice used catchphrase. So, hell yeah.
I think it should be on the soundboard.
Oh, yeah. Johnny, give
Just
us
that catchphrase or the whole backstory?
It can be
Both.
both.
Johnny, give us a nice clean read on I don't go fishing, I go catching.
I don't go fishing, I go catching.
And now give us a nice clean read on the backstory of I don't go fishing. No, don't do that. Let's just
New free play jingle.
Oh man, next free play jingle just needs to be Johnny's backstory of that with a trap beat. We're good to go.
Yes.
So thank you, Pat, for the request. Breath of Fire 3 is dope. And Johnny, let's go to the next game.
Game 4.
So, trivia for this game. This is the only title in its series, despite the game's name, which makes it appear to be a sequel. Perhaps that song was a bit of a hint as well. I tried to not go with very obvious music.
Yeah. I think I'm on the right track. I hope I remembered the title. John, try harder, my friend.
So John says the Star Wars special editions were a mistake, which
We
is
all learned
incorrect.
that in 1987. He's not wrong.
I mean, it's incorrect as an answer. Jesse says Goonies 2, which is incorrect. And John Harrington has the correct answer with Super Puzzle Fighter 2, I think.
Oh shit!
All right.
It is, in fact, Super Puzzle Fighter 2.
Sweet.
Technically, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo.
Oh, of course
Oh, that's why I missed it.
it
too.
was. Yeah. It wasn't Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Special Champions Edition Hyper Fighting. Trying to think of the other Street Fighter 2 subtitles. Ultimate
World
Super,
Warriors.
the World Warrior. So it wasn't those.
No. Which I
Gotcha.
do love the fact that this is. I mean, they released a port-ish, sequel-ish, remake-ish, like on Android and iOS, I think last year. But technically, there's only been one Puzzle Fighter game, and they made a point to name it Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo just to make fun of how ridiculous the Street Fighter naming convention was.
Mhm. I'm glad they recognized that even in 1997. Yeah, we're getting out of hand with this, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, did anybody play Puzzle Fighter?
When this came out, I thought I was way too late to the series based on this name, and so I didn't play it.
Shit, there must have been like 4 of these already.
Yeah,
I
I just like
can't
10
touch
of these
this.
games. Like, oh well.
Puzzles.
God, first they were street and now they're puzzling.
Yeah. So it's from what I know of it, it's a Puyo type game, right? Like help me out here.
It is straight up a puzzle game. There's no actual fighting in it. It's a competitive puzzle game. But it's kind of cool because unlike Puyo Puyo or Tetris or all the other falling block things, you're not trying to match up a specific number. You've got colored blocks and you stack them, and then you get special. Oh God, I forget what they're called. I think they're called like break blocks or something in colors. And once those touch a block of the same color, everything of that color disappears. So the goal is to like make up giant stacks of, say, green blocks, and then wait for the green destructive block, touch that, shatter all of them.
Okay, yeah, no, I've definitely seen a video of that, and I was sitting there wondering, I'm like, why is this guy stacking all these yellow blocks? Like, bro, you make those, like, why aren't they breaking? And then he got like one thing, and he got like, a 2-chain that did like 5 of one thing, but then like 40 of the other block, and just annihilated the other person's board. I'm like, oh, now the game makes sense.
You can technically sit there and just match like 2 and 2 and 2 and 2, but it doesn't really mess with the other person. You have to chain like huge blocks and combos. And the whole gimmick is a bunch of Capcom fighting characters are like in the center of the screen in super deformed, chibi, adorable style. And every time that you make a match, they do a move, either like a punch or a taunt or a super or a special move. And the bigger the chain that you have, the more intense the move is. So you're not actually controlling the characters. You're just kind of playing the puzzle game, and it's just a neat little visual.
I like it.
Have you played the mobile version?
I have not, but from what I'm to understand, they include way more characters, because the original game has like Ryu, Chun-Li, Sakura, Felicia, Morrigan from Darkstalkers. You can unlock Akuma and Dan and Devilot from some weird, obscure fighting game from Capcom. And that's pretty much it. Like, it's a small roster. And if I remember correctly, the mobile one, you can get like Ken and Zangief and Mega Man X, and like they really expanded out.
Wait.
I'm downloading it now.
I thought that it was just Street Fighter characters. You're like naming them, and it's like and Felicia and Morgan. I'm like, you have my attention, sir.
Yeah, it's like half Street Fighter, half Darkstalkers, and then like I said, Dan and Devilot and Akuma are added in there.
Sure. Yeah.
All in super chibi deformed style.
I love Chibi Akuma. It's just precious. Yeah.
I was going to say, nothing beats Chibi Akuma.
It's so cute. And he's so angry. After your description, I'm like, yeah, wait, I've definitely not played this, but I definitely have seen videos of it just to see like the little cute animations and things. And it was like, oh, Sakura threw like a fucking super ultimate finishing move when that guy broke like, 30 blocks at the same time. This is cool. I could see why people were into this. And then did you say this is literally the only game in this series? Like, was this their only entry in like puzzle fighting?
Yeah, this is it. Right.
Thanks.
They re-released it on like PlayStation Network, Xbox Live Arcade with an HD version, and then there's the mobile version, and that's it. It's like, because you would think that like Capcom, of all companies, would pump out sequels to this like every other year.
Yeah. See, the problem is they used up all of their titles on the first entry. Like, they could have just called it Puzzle Fighter, and it could have been not very good. And then you could have called it Puzzle Fighter 2, and it could have been one of the best games of all time. And then you start adding superlatives to it, and you could have cranked out at least 7 of these. But
clearly there was a Japanese board meeting that's like, hey, this game was pretty fun. We should make another one. What are we going to call it? Well, scrap it. We're done.
Yeah. Oh, crap. Should we call it Super Puzzle Fighter 3? Man is thrown out window.
Actually, I would play the hell out of Super Puzzle Fighter Third Strike.
Hell yeah, man. Like Super Puzzle Fighter Alpha, man. Get a little Charlie in there. Or SNK versus Puzzle Fighter.
That'd be amazing.
There's got to be ways to have made more of these games. It makes no sense. It's one game where you literally just throw a few sprites in there. It's not even a fighting game. It's just puzzles. Like, Capcom of all companies should really know how to milk an idea.
Exactly.
Ay.
Or at the very least, could we get like a Puzzle Fighter in a versus Capcom game, where it's just like Chun-Li but half the size, and one of her special moves is throwing a block at you.
Yeah, that would be really funny if these characters were separate entities from their existing from the original characters. So you get a chibi, Ryu, and instead of throwing a Hadouken, when you do the input, it just drops a block on somebody. Like, ow! Yeah,
No, it's got to be Chibi Akuma. And then when you do the Raging Demon, it just goes black and a bunch of blocks fall everywhere.
oh, dude, yeah, that needs to happen. So yeah,
That's got to be a Mugen character. It has to be.
Marvel versus Capcom versus Puzzle Fighters. Coming soon, I assume, because Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is already tanking. So that's Capcom's next move. Is Capcom versus Chibi Capcom. That's got to be it's got to be in the works. It's going to be great.
I'd play it. Hell.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I don't know. Here on this podcast, we don't really like things that are absurd. So there's no way we'd play this game if they released it. I mean, come on. How absurd! It's just ridiculous. But anyway, fuck yeah. Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. David, anything else on this or Puyo Puyo games in general, or
No,
Tiny
it's a
Chibi?
It's a surprisingly fun puzzle game. Like when I first played it, I thought like, okay, it's going to be some kind of weird hybrid puzzles fighting game. It's not. It's just a puzzle game that has cute little sprites, and I wish they made another one.
Yeah, get on that, Capcom, or we're gonna have to make it a new Patreon goal. Don't make us do this. We get a program, but we'll do it. Once we hit that $100 tier, we're programming a new puzzle fighter game. So, boom, there you go. Johnny,
am I the we in that? We you just said? Yeah. Is it me?
Yeah. You're the programmer, David's the artist, and me and Jesse are the guys that hang out and take all the credit. It's going to be really great.
They call those
producers. Producer is the word you're looking for.
Yes. Thank you. Patreon.com/game that tune. Johnny, let's keep it going, man.
Game 5.
All right, man. So, trivia for this game. This is the final entry in this series that was released in arcades. Hell yeah. You guys feeling good?
I think so.
Oh man, Johnny's on the right track. Let's see it. Oh man. Johnny and Jesse both say Mortal Kombat 4 and they're correct. David said Tekken 3, sadly incorrect. Oh yeah. Johnny on the board with Mortal Kombat 4. Thank goodness. I didn't want you to come back and strike out, man.
That would have been so sad.
It happens a lot to you. But no, I'm not sure how many Tekken games were released in arcades, but I know the arcade around the corner from my house definitely has Tekken 5. So, sadly, David's answer is incorrect. But Mortal Kombat 4 is pretty dope. How many of you guys played this?
I think I did.
Is this the first 3D one?
Yes. It's the one for Nintendo 64.
Yeah, I definitely rented it on N64. Definitely.
Yeah.
I
remember it
don't
being
think
cool.
I've played this one. I've played later 3D ones, but I don't think I ever played this one.
Well, this one, it wasn't full 3D. It was still essentially the same, 2D as Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3. But there was, how they added in 3 the run button? They also added in a, sidestep button. So you could sidestep and go into, another plane. So it was 3D-ish, but most of the mechanics carried over from the 2D ones. But man,
Did this one have the weapons?
yeah, it had weapons. Every
Okay.
character move you can input, and they produce a weapon from nowhere. They just, Sub-Zero pulls out a giant ice sword. From where? Not important. Scorpion's got a fucking, katana. It doesn't matter where it came from. You can just push a button and they produce the weapon. And then if you do that same button input, they throw the weapon, which is just the best move in the game. It's one thing to actually learn how to fight with the weapon. It's a whole other thing to, show somebody a giant hammer and then immediately throw it right in their face.
It's your best.
That's a real power move. That's how
Yeah, no.
that's how I start every meeting.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really it's an interesting entry in the series because it's the last one that came out in arcades, and I don't know if they ever planned on releasing the future ones in arcades, but they just didn't. So surprisingly, Mortal Kombat's arcade history ends in 1997, and then 97 was kind of a shit year for Mortal Kombat. Do you guys remember the other things that came out in 1997, Mortal Kombat related?
That Sub-Zero game.
Uh-huh.
Did Annihilation come out in 97 or was that later?
It was 97, man.
Oh wow.
In the span of a month, Mortal Kombat goes from being the king of arcades to having released Mortal Kombat Mythology Sub-Zero, which is a prequel to Mortal Kombat 4. And then they released Mortal Kombat 4. And then within a month, they released Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and suddenly Mortal Kombat sucks. It was crazy how quick that happened. You know,
On paper, that Sub-Zero game should have been really cool. Like,
Yeah.
like the idea of it sounds really awesome, but nope.
Side-scrolling adventure game starring Sub-Zero, pretty cool. But man, apparently the guys at at Midway didn't know how to fucking design a dungeon, because it's just, walk, climb a long rope, walk some more, maybe encounter somebody you're familiar with from the Mortal Kombat series, but mostly you're like kicking floating heads. It was a bad entry. And then Mortal Kombat 4, actually, I mean, I love it. It's one of my favorite entries in the series. But I can see why it wasn't for some people. Like, they went with the polygons instead of like the photorealistic characters from the previous ones. And there's something lost in that. Like, you can do cool, crazy, dramatic fatalities, like the camera can move around, and you can do fancy new dismemberments, but at the same time it just looks worse somehow. Like, it's funny. Like, I'm trying to think of like some of the fatalities from the game, like Reptile straight like just jumps on you and just like eats your whole face while the camera pans around, but then like the body falls down and it's really bad polygons. It's like
bunch of boxes.
Yeah, just it's a box with a shocked emoji for a face. It's not just, they just don't quite nail it. But they did keep up the tradition of having no knowledge of the anatomy of the body. Anytime a character explodes in that game, they are full of rib cages.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
Like just two kinds of bones, 40 of them, kaboom. And they can have stuff where like somebody's head gets knocked off and it flies forward and hits the camera. That's pretty cool. But it's bad polygons. So it's like, that's fun, but it barely looks like Johnny Cage. Like, what are we doing here? Like,
I would love it if somebody made some kind of hack of this game where they replaced everybody's faces with emoji.
Dude, it would work for the
emoji combat.
Apparently, when you peel the skin off of these characters, they all have the same disgusting, awful face underneath, and it just looks like they've they're shocked to learn that they're being killed. It's the same face over and over again.
Like, you wouldn't be shocked to be murdered and have 14 rib cages explode out of your body.
I mean, I would if it were just abrupt, but you got to fight 3 rounds first. So like, if I get my ass kicked that bad and then, I just explode into a burst of fucking, rib cages and femurs. No, that's not shocking. I lost. That's how it goes. But it's really something, man. I'm trying to think of what else they got in this game. I mean, there's a couple of new characters that are not particularly interesting. It's clear that most of the new characters are replacements for previous characters. Like, there's Jarek. He's a bounty hunter guy, and blah blah. And one of his fatalities, he suddenly has laser eyes and like cuts you up with them. Is Kano in the game? No, he's not. But this guy is. Jarek with the laser eyes is in the game.
I'm gonna have to look up. Is this the one where they added like the Batwoman?
No, they didn't do anything that cool for this one. The new characters are Fujin, who is an old man with a ponytail who clearly was supposed to be Sindel from Mortal Kombat 3. Jarek, who's a replacement for Kano. Kai, who has no personality. Reiko, who is a mix between Johnny Cage and Shao Kahn, also having no personality. Quan Chi, who is one of the most badass characters they've ever added to the game.
That's my favorite kind of peanut butter.
Quan Chi.
Get out. Get out.
I'll go now.
No soundboard?
I don't know. That's beyond soundboard.
Shinnok, who is a replacement for Shang Tsung. Tanya, who is literally a palette swap of Katana. And then there's an unlockable character, Meat, which is just like a body with no skin that's constantly bleeding, which is really funny. But yeah, it's new characters not so great. But one of the things that is great about this game is it had a first for the series. Did anybody ever beat Mortal Kombat 1, 2, or 3?
Oh no. Well, maybe.
I think
Yes.
I beat the first one.
Yeah, do you remember the endings for those games?
Yeah, like
Wasn't
you
it
get a
just
screen
like,
of text that just
you
tells
won?
you,
Yeah, it
what
was like,
happened.
congratulations, you're the ultimate warrior. Here's some text and a picture showing how the story ended. In Mortal Kombat 4, they added a new feature. They added voiced and like fully acted cutscenes using the character models. And
Oh.
they,
is this where that started?
they range from awesome to fucking ridiculous and stupid. So you should all open up the document I provided you, labeled "dramatic reading." Because we're gonna do a brief dramatic reading of the best ending in the entire game. It's Jax's ending to Mortal Kombat 4, which is just the best piece of fucking like writing, acting, use of 3D models.
There's already a line in here that I don't know how you're supposed to perform it. We'll see what happens.
We will figure it out. So
If it's the one I think it is, I'm worried about it too.
yeah. We need to decide on characters here. Does anybody have a character they would like to play? Johnny, you feel like a Jarek. I think Johnny needs to play the role of Jarek,
All right.
the bounty hunter guy. David and Jesse, can you guys agree who should play Jax versus Sonya?
I'll be Sonya.
Sweet. All right, so this is the ending from Mortal Kombat 4 for Jax. And the part of Jarek will be played by John Regan. The part of Sonya Blade will be played by Jesse Moore. King David playing Jackson Briggs, and I will be reading the stage directions. And 3, 2, 1, scene. Jarek faces Sonya Blade with mountains in the background.
It's over, Jarek. Shinnok is dead. The good guys won. You're coming with me.
Jarek begins aggressively walking towards Sonya Blade.
Never, Sonya. I agreed to help defeat Shinnok, not turn myself into the Special Forces. The Black Dragon live on!
The camera reveals that Sonya has been backed up to a steep cliff.
The Black Dragon died with Kano. You're the last one, Jarek.
Never!
Rushes Sonya, falling forward over the cliff, screaming.
Babble scream?
Pretty good, man. Sonya peers over the cliff and pulls out her radio.
Come in, Major Briggs. This is Lieutenant Sonya Blade. Ah!
Climbing back up the cliff, grabs Sonya by the ankle and throws her off the cliff to her death. The camera cuts to Sonya's radio on the ground.
Sonya, this is Major Briggs. Sonya, this is Jax. Are you there? Sonya!
Eric stomps on the radio, crushing it. He laughs sinisterly and turns to walk away.
Going somewhere, Jarek?
Jarek is immediately met by Major Jackson Briggs, who effortlessly lifts him by the neck.
Jax, I thought you were...
Thought I was what? Dead? Like my partner you just tossed off the cliff?
Jax walks to the edge of the cliff and lowers Jarek to his eye level.
I'm sorry, Jax. Please, don't drop me. Wait, I promise.
Too late, Jarek.
You can't drop me. You have to uphold the law. You have to arrest me. Wait, this is brutality. You can't do it.
Wrong, Jarek. This is not a brutality.
Mortal Kombat finishing music plays.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is a fatality.
Dun, dun, dun. Jax drops Jarek screaming to his death. There should be another babble scream on there. Johnny, hit it. It's the best piece of fucking like acting and just writing of all time. It's so good. Yeah,
I gotta say, this is perfect timing for Oscar season.
I'm saying. It raises so many questions. I mean, Sonya somehow lets herself be backed onto a cliff. Jarek rushes her and throws himself over the cliff. Immediately begins climbing back up the cliff. Throws Sonya off the cliff, and then, he turns to walk away and is literally met immediately by Jax. Like, Jax was what, 6 feet away?
Like he probably could have prevented Sonya
Radios
from
if they're
dying.
on the same cliff. Like,
Yeah, Sonya, this is Jax. What's going on? And then
I
it's
can see you, but
like over there because he immediately picks Jarek up. It's like going somewhere. Oh, you just threw my partner off the cliff. Yeah, why didn't you stop me?
I thought you were asleep.
So many questions.
I would like to stress this was a cold read. So as we got to the lines, like, you can't do this. This is brutality. It's like, oh God, I know exactly where this is going.
yeah, seriously. And that's the other thing. Jarek can't set Jax up for such a severe dunk. Like, you can't do this, Jax. This is a brutality. No, it ain't, motherfucker. This is a fatality. Like, it's just the best. And yeah, the rest of the endings, they're not as good as that one, but they're a fucking hoot. Like, so many people explode. So many people are double crossed. Almost no one survives their own ending in the game. It's really good. But yeah, so the game's dope. It's Mortal Kombat 4. It's still playable if you can find it in an arcade or on a Nintendo 64. I think it holds up fairly well in terms of the gameplay, if not the appearance of it. And yeah, those fucking endings. That's the thing. You got to beat the game with everybody because everybody's ending is, I can only think of like the only character with a bad ending in the game is the new character Reiko. And it's because apparently they wanted to include more story for him and they just didn't have time. But like he was supposed to be like a reincarnation of Shao Kahn. And his ending was supposed to be like him, going through a portal and then like sitting in the throne and having Shao Kahn's helmet come down on his head. But instead, like, they didn't have time to do any of that. And so his ending is just him walking into a portal and saying nothing, and the game ends. Like, it's
wow, what a bummer.
It really is.
Disappointing.
Like, oh, who was that guy? Are we ever going to see him again? Nah. Yeah, he's good. You didn't like him anyway. But yeah, Mortal Kombat 4 is fucking awesome. A lot of fun. Really fucking dumb. And yeah, 1997 was a terrible fucking year for Mortal Kombat. So, if you like bad Mortal Kombat games and bad Mortal Kombat movies, 1997 was your year. But anyway, yeah. Unless somebody else has something to say about this game or, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the worst movie of all time, I think, Johnny, it's time to start the calculating computer if you remember how to do that.
Calculating computer activated. Computers, beeps,
Oh, sorry, I was checking up on the chat. What was that?
beeps. Scoring complete. This game's winner is... John Harrington.
Oh, yes. That feels right, man. Feels real good. I'd have some kind of cool Mortal Kombat 4 related like fatality pun if I were a more creative man, but here we are, and I don't. So I'll just thank you guys for the win. Like Jesse said, it's Oscar season. Thank you so much for this. It means so much to me to win episode 97 of Game That Tune. As the writer and director of Jax's ending.
Do we have some play music we can play to like make him have to get off the stage?
Ah, damn it. Now I have to do post-production on myself.
Hey, play my loser sound. No, I'm joking.
That was my play out music.
Game That Tune Oscars having Supersonic Racing as the playoff music would be fucking excellent. And look forward to that. That's a new Patreon goal. Game That Tune's Oscars. But yeah, good game tonight, guys. For a theme for the next episode, I don't know, man. It's it's been such a successful run here on Game That Tune. We definitely haven't been eviscerated by a podcast that tears other podcasts apart. We definitely haven't had a giant gap in the middle of these episodes. I think we've had such a successful run with 90s games that we got to keep it going. More 90s games in episode 98. So, boom. Done. Yeah. Oh, it feels right, man. Feels real right. So, You guys feeling good about that?
Yeah.
Anything you want to
Oh,
say?
yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Bring this thing
Sounds
home.
great.
We're coming in well under time. That's why I'm like taking my time.
Great show.
It's good.
Good to be
Uh,
back.
This is probably a good time to mention the 24/7 YouTube live stream has had some bot upgrades, so it should now be better at finding the song you want.
Nice. Jesse, I think you also have something that you wanted to plug, perhaps that was published today.
Oh yeah, Love Hurts, our Game That Tune Wrestling event for February has begun. Our first match is a Ponfar death match between Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock. And Ponfar is that weird Vulcan ritual where you have to either mate with a partner or fight someone in a death battle. So that's fascinating.
Awesome. That sounds lovely. I was actually thinking of something else, something more mixtape oriented that might have just come out.
Also there's a mixtape of of Tim Fallon tracks because Tim Fallon is amazing, and it's got a fantastic name. It's called Fallen in Love because it's Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And we're clever.
Yeah. So clever that I think several other video game podcasts also tweeted out like fallen in love jokes. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, but did they add an accompanying mixtape to it?
Yeah, exactly. We didn't just make the pun; we fucking made a mixtape. So, boo, yeah. But yeah, so there's a lot of awesome stuff going on around here at Game That Tune. We got Jesse's Wrestling, we got Johnny's awesome programming on our 24/7 video game music live stream. We got the Fallen in Love mixtape with, you know, a bunch of awesome Tim Fallon tunes. And yeah, we're having a lot of fun. And a lot of that is made possible by patreon.com/GameThatTune. We greatly encourage you to go to Patreon and throw us a couple of bucks because it pays for our server space. And it encourages us to do awesome projects. Normally, mixtapes are Patreon exclusives, but for Valentine's Day, we wanted to really spread that love all over your chest and just, you know, give it to everybody. So, you know, that's what we've done. But yeah, check out patreon.com/GameThatTune. Throw us a couple of bucks, and you know, we would greatly appreciate it. And a special thanks to our Patreon superfan tier producers, Alex Messenger, Lance Revere, Andrew Oliver. You guys are fantastic, and we appreciate your contributions to the show. And yeah, great request tonight from our buddy Pat. We always love getting requests by email, gamethattune@gmail.com, or find us on Twitter @GameThatTune. Shoot us a message, and you know, we'll take it and add it to the queue. Find us in the chat room of our 24/7 video game music live stream at youtube.com/GameThatTune. You know, throw us a request in there. Anywhere we can find it, we'll take your request. We love taking requests. And then you can find us all on Twitter. You can find John Regan on Twitter at
JP Regan JR.
Shit, yeah. You can find David Fleming on Twitter at
DFD Fleming.
and you can find Jesse Moore on Twitter at
Sega_legend.
hell yeah. And you can find me on Twitter at JGangsta187. And yeah, we're bringing it home with fantastic 1997 bonus tunes. My game tonight was Mortal Kombat 4. The movie that year, Mortal Kombat Annihilation. The bonus tune, the theme to the Mortal Kombat movies, updated Annihilation version. So let's hear that fucking fantastic Mortal Kombat theme. Peace out, everybody. Sonic R is copyright 1997, Sega Enterprises Limited. Bloody Roar is copyright 1998, Hudson Soft Company Limited. Breath of Fire 3 is copyright 1997, Capcom Company Limited. Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo is copyright 1996, Capcom Company Limited. Mortal Kombat 4 is copyright 1997, Midway Games Incorporated.